All right, guys. Today we've got another really great guest for you. Our guest is Hewitt Tomlin. Hewitt is the co-founder and CEO of TeamBuildr. If you're not familiar, TeamBuildr is a strength and conditioning software. Strength coaches, sport coaches, gym owners, they use this software to write programs, implement programs, to manage their gym, to manage their practice. Uh, Hewitt's somebody that I've admired kind of from afar for some time. He's an extremely impressive entrepreneur. He's got great leadership qualities. He leads an amazing team. Something I talk about all the time is a really good measure of a leader is what people say about you when you're not around. And every time I meet somebody who knows Hewitt, they have nothing but good things to say, right? It's always that dude's awesome. Oh, right, have you met him? You got to meet him, right? He's the best, right? He's incredible. He's a great leader. He's an amazing business person, right? And I've never heard anybody say anything negative, right? He's had very little churn at his company. He has people work for him for a long time. He's built a team of 50 plus. His company does $10 million plus of sales a year, and it's still growing at a pretty rapid rate, I think. And so this was a wonderful conversation. We talked about business. We talked about the history of TeamBuildr. We talked about leadership qualities and life skills. We talked about the power of language and how that affects your leadership. We talked about leading by impact and your relationships with your coworkers. We talked about the business of TeamBuildr and the history of the acquisitions they've made, what's next for them, how they're implementing AI in the future, how they're not implementing AI, and all kinds of other great stuff. So I think if you're like us and you're in the sports world, if you're in the business world, if you're not an entrepreneur, if you're an athlete, if you're a coach, this is for you. And I think you're really going to enjoy this. So here we go. Enjoy. Hewitt, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So today we got a guest. Our guest is Hewitt Tomlin. Hewitt is the co-founder and CEO of TeamBuildr. So for anybody who's not familiar, TeamBuildr is a strength and conditioning software. If you run in the circles we run in, you undoubtedly know what it is.
I was gonna say they ought to know by now, unless they're super
Yeah,
new.
yeah. If you're living under a rock and you haven't heard of it, TeamBuildr is a software that strength and conditioning performance coaches use. They recently are somewhat recently, I guess, over the last couple of years, breaking into gym management software and diversifying some stuff there. So, Hewitt, thanks for joining us, man. I'm super stoked to talk to you because we've kind of known each other sort of loosely for some time, and we know people who know each other. We kind of have one degree of separation, but I have a lot of admiration for your company and what you've done. And so um, I think it's pretty cool. And that's the theme of the guests we've had, the guests that we have had is a lot of times it's people who are kind of living a life that we admire and they've accomplished things that we think are great. So we just kind of bring them on and talk about their perspectives and what they've done in their background and hopefully we can inspire some other people too. So
Wow, I
um,
mean, that's really nice. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
yeah, yeah. So let's start here. I think this is a decent place to start because we are both former collegiate athletes too.
Uh-huh.
And I think like it's a little corny, but your experience of doing that at a high level, playing a sport, will really like lay the foundation for a lot of what you do in your career after sports. So let's talk about football in college. You played football at Johns Hopkins,
Uh-huh.
but you didn't go to medical school. I, I read a LinkedIn post that you posted a while back that said, when you tell people you went to Johns Hopkins, people assume that you
Yeah,
went to
like what
medical
kind of
school.
medicine do you practice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell the story of that. Are you from the East Coast? Is that where you grew up? Or, football was a big part of your life, obviously, at some point. You played quarterback. Let's just talk about that experience and how that laid the foundation for what you're doing now.
Yeah, I'm not from the East Coast. I'm from Tennessee. There's not like a lot of kids who went to Johns Hopkins from Tennessee. But football was big because growing up in the South, that's the sport. And my dad was just like a psycho for football. Now, like, to my dad's credit, he did sit me. I played a lot of sports growing up, and then also to his credit, I think freshman year of high school, he was like, hey, now's the time where you can pick a sport and be better at it, and I think you should do it with football. And my dad, was a school teacher. He like doesn't know long-term athletic development. He didn't know any of the things, but sort of intuitively was like, yeah, Hewitt can play all the sports he wants. And when he turns 14, 15 years old, then he specializes in one. And like, lo and behold, that's kind of like the best way to do it per the NSCA. So props to him. And I really wanted to go to the best academic school that I could go to, and then also play football to get into it, and then also play a lot of football. So like a Division III liberal arts college was like checking all the boxes for me. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
and so when you were playing, I you tell the story, and I think storytelling is such a huge part of brand building, right? And I think a lot of us, we have like a story that starts to get somewhat rehearsed, right?
Mm.
Where, the origin story of TeamBuildr, right? And I read, you're training, you're at your team training, you're watching your coach hand out sheets, and you're like, there's got to be a better way, right? um so I want to do this instead of the story that is sort of the official story,
Uh-huh.
right? Give us some of the experiences that happened a little bit in the fringe of your experience playing college football that helped lay the foundation for TeamBuildr. Not the obvious where it's like, look at the coach dragging his
Yeah.
ass through printing all this sheets. But what
Yeah.
were some of the other like lesser known experiences, some of the other things that are a little underrated that, maybe you didn't realize at the beginning of TeamBuildr, but a couple years in, you're like, that reminds me of my time playing college football. This is another time to build maybe a specific feature or a leadership skill that you had when building the company itself or something
Uh,
like that.
that is such a good question, because like yes, the company story always has to be like formatted in a marketable way, but it never really happens that way. Sometimes it's like more nuanced and I think more interesting, but like not as sexy as the marketing version of the story. So, can I give you like really how this company got started?
Yeah.
Um, I have a partner, James. Really, this company is his idea. It's not mine. He's the one who called me up one summer and was like, "Hey, I think I can build like a software that like will replace this paper packet." So it really was him. But it goes like beyond that. My partner James is like a very skilled programmer, and he like built his love for spending time on the computer as like a kid. He was like always tinkering on his computer in his basement, like his mom still lives in that house now. Like the basement's still there. When he got to college, James was always coding. Like he was my freshman year roommate, and he was like building this, building that. He was just a naturally curious, and still is naturally curious, gifted computer programmer. And like without that, TeamBuildr doesn't exist. So like that's the origin story. And then for me, my natural personality is extroverted, gregarious. James always liked that I remembered everyone's name on campus because he couldn't remember anyone's name. So James was like, I like building and I'm good at it. Hewitt is really good at knowing people and like holding personal relationships. That's where like the vision came together for us, that we had like these really complementary skill sets. And it just so happened that we built TeamBuildr. We probably were going to build something else if it wasn't for TeamBuildr. But like the ingredients were always there way before TeamBuildr was like an idea or a concept.
That's so
That's
sick.
such a
That's
it's such a cool dynamic when you have that, you
Yeah,
have
it's
skill sets that
serendipitous,
complement
right?
each
Like
other.
it's thinking about it, like when I talk to my kids about what they want to do for their future, it's going to be less about like, hey, Georgia Tech's a good engineering school, and less about, hey, this school, you know. I think it's going to be more like when you whatever situation you put yourself in, you're like opening the door to like the opportunities there. And I think college is just as much about surrounding yourself with people that you can work with or rely on in the future. And that's kind of one of the values of college, in addition to the degree, which sort of acts as like a ticket to have the privilege to apply to certain jobs. That's like the technical value of it. But like I think the real intangible value is you're just putting yourself in a situation where you have more opportunity than if you say started working out of college. And I'm using college as an example. There are many other examples of where you choose to place yourself, you know.
Hewitt. Did you,
Yeah, yeah.
I have a question. So for you, I'm Alex. Nice to meet you, Hewitt. By the way,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Dude. When Zach sent me
Probably
the
should have
email
done that before we started recording.
Professional amateurs. But Zach sent me the invite and he goes, we're having I see the team builder and I see your name pop up at you. So I went to the University of North Dakota. We
Uh-huh.
used TeamBuildr like way back, like when it
Yeah.
first came out. I remember it being like, this is kind of neat. I can actually use this. It's actually usable. It's not just a piece of paper that I come home with, which is great. So
Yeah.
full circle moment for me. But your
Amazing.
father was an educator. My
Yeah.
father was also an educator. And
Wow.
when I was coming up, I don't know if your dad was the same way, but the importance of having relationships, like knowing somebody, like being able to liaison and understand. Zach always gives me crap. I'm like, I got a guy for you. Like, don't go outside the circle. That part of it, I think, is you hit the nail on the head so well there. Finding ways to grow relationships, whether it be through college or through external outside of college or sport or whatever it is really like one of the most important parts of figuring out where life is going to take you. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't, you can decide you're going to do something, but realistically, it's until you get further in. So it's just really cool to hear that you've had a similar experience. That's how we got into our business, my wife and I.
Yeah.
We knew somebody who gave us an opportunity to jump in the door, right? It's not the marketing story that we tell people. We had an opportunity because we were in the right spot at the right time with the right people,
Yeah.
and we ended up there. So that's cool to hear, man. It's very
Thank you,
cool.
man. It's
Yeah.
so true. And like I was lucky. My dad was good at it. My dad's always been good at it.
Mm.
He's the kind of guy where he walks into a room, you're kind of drawn to his energy, and he's really good about making you feel like an individual in a room full of people when he talks to you. So inherited, I guess. But my gosh, like here I am, 35. I've run the company for like 13 years. The most like out of all the skills that I've developed over the years, like there's none more important than relationship building. I'm always taking new meetings all the time, all the time. And first impressions and sort of how that 30-minute sort of introductory meeting turns into results in the long run has a lot to do with like how much rapport you build and trust with that person, which comes down to how do you exhibit what sort of relationship you're going to have with that person. So thank you for mentioning that. It is like talking about college earlier. This is one of the things that colleges probably aren't teaching. I don't know where you need to go get it if you don't get it in your household, but like, man, it is super important. Like
Yeah.
the most
That's so
important.
cool to hear.
Alex and I talk about this on a pretty regular basis about how like so much of life and success is about right place, right time, but people forget the third step, which is being the right person in the
Yeah.
right place, right time.
Yeah.
And that depends on who you are, like who your true genuine self is, but it's also about little daily practices that you do to help become the type of person that people think of when an opportunity arises, right?
Yeah.
Something that we talk about is the little "hey, I was thinking of you" reach out text message. It's such a small thing, but if you can implement that in your life and you go like, if you really are thinking of somebody and stop and think honestly, like if you're listening to this, how often does that happen? Like you're just thinking about a friend that you haven't talked to in a little while. It
Yeah.
happens. Shoot him a text.
Yeah.
Hey, thinking of you. Hope you're good. What's
I
up?
love it.
And it may not like blossom into this long
That's right.
conversation, but these things help build those meaningful relationships, and it makes people feel important. It makes people feel like others care about whatever they have going on, and in return people will care about whatever you have going on, and it builds lot like deeper, more lasting relationships. And so much of life is just about collecting relationships with people. You're choosing your network, you're choosing you know which people you want to spend your time around. Those all those cliches your parents tell you about,
Yeah.
the 5 people you spend your most time around and all those things. All of it's real. It's so real.
Yeah.
And Alex, and this is one of the reasons why we have this together, and because Alex is the king of that, right? Um, he's always got a guy. If I need something, he's like,
I got
hang on, just and he starts his thumbs start
Alex
going.
has the network. Alex,
Yeah,
you got the network effect going.
Yeah.
yeah.
My dad's a lot like yours. I have a feeling, Hewitt. They nicknamed him Paul Twingy, friend of America. He's a career Division I baseball coach, career baseball coach, administrator, educator. There's not somebody who Paul hasn't ran into. We're sitting at a baseball game. He's talking. We're all sitting here as a family, and he's talking to the person next to us.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
What's going on? Where are you from? And it's just
I love it.
that's his
It's
thing.
so good.
But this. I mean, and this kind of goes. This is like when you're running a business, especially like how you did. The fact that you have brought on as many people as you have, and you have such low, like nil to like almost no turnover. You want to talk about like building relationships? I'm kind of skipping ahead on the sheet, but
Yeah,
this is
that's
a
okay.
perfect like little segue into it. That is one of the most important things because Zach knows this. We have a couple employees. If you're really building relationships and showing people that you value them because you genuinely do and you care about them, you're not going to lose people because they're not a disposable asset.
Yeah.
They're not just You're not just taking them at face value. You're like, oh, this body will bring in the X amount of dollars for me this year. You're like, okay, how do I give this person the runway to become the best version of whatever? And is that something that you do at TeamBuildr? Like, how do you create that? Like, how do you create that low of turnover, especially in a company of this size?
Yeah. Well, I have a lot to say there, but before, when just want to circle back to Zach saying you have to be the right person in addition to the right place and right time. My mentor, I just can't let this thought go. My mentor has this great thing about being a referable person. And a referable person is another way of saying like a trustworthy person. And I don't have the entire like criteria in front of me, but it's something along the lines of like, do you show up when you're supposed to? Do you say what you're going to do? Meaning, do you bring closure? Like, are you thorough? And do you say what you mean? Like if you're going to say something, mean it. And then if not, like, you're not really a referable, AKA trustworthy person. So I didn't do it a great service there, but I need to find that and like circulate it to you guys because I do find that to be like a good definition of like, are you the right person in addition
Mm-hmm.
to being there? Now to circle back, Alex, to your question, I think it's totally okay to go to employees and talk to them about how much value they're creating and if they're providing a return on their cost as labor to the business. Like that's a fair conversation, but it has to be had on top of a foundation. And the foundation is I care about you. Um, I want to know what motivates you. I want to know why you're here, and I want to support you in that. There's like a whole slew of conversations I think that just sort of take place prior to that, and I think that's where we do really well at TeamBuildr. Is we can't really ask too much of our employees because of the foundation that we're working off of, and I've sort of personally made it a point to always ask people like, are you happy? And I'm not responsible for their personal happiness. Like I sort of make that known too. Like I'm your boss, I'm your colleague, your friend. I'm not your therapist. Like I'm not going to talk you out of this. But like I just want to know, like, are you happy here at least? And if not, like let's just talk about it without like solutions, right? I'm not going to reach for a solution, but we're just going to have it out. And I let them know, like I'm proud of them. If they onboard really well, I tell them I'm proud of them because I don't have to see a return or have to see them crushing commissions or working and actually improving the business before saying that I'm proud of them. If they work really hard for that first month and they're showing up and they're onboarding, I tell them. And another thing I like to tell them is like you belong here. Like you're a TeamBuildr person. You have the traits, the qualities, and it just means a lot. I think, especially for a young employee, to hear that from someone. And then with that established, if you really mean that, then you can lean in and say, okay, let's talk about what performance means and what our standards are and go from there. So that's what I just like to do. I like to make sure that people know that they're like safe with me, safe at our company, and that they feel like they belong and that they're wanted. And then once that's established, then we can get into performance. And that's just like my preferred sequence.
You said something interesting there. So one of the things that's going to make a person like you successful in the endeavor that you've undertaken is a really strong bias for action, right? Like you're a CEO, you're a founder, you're going to have a strong bias for action, almost undoubtedly, right? You're going to run towards the fire, all the cliches,
Almost to a fault. Like,
almost to a fault,
you
right?
have to like
Yeah.
back off once you start hiring because then you're over involved. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you know exactly what I mean because I think all three of us sitting here probably suffer from this. Now, you said you
Yeah.
sit and you talk with them and you listen without jumping to solutions. How?
Oh,
How the hell? I mean, so that had to have been a skill that was practiced consciously. That's a choice you consciously made.
yeah.
Because I can empathize but it is so tempting to sit and jump directly to solutions when you're having conversations like that. And people, it's so risky to make people feel like they're not being heard.
I think a lot for me personally, right? This is just my personal experience. My personality type on the Myers Briggs is ENFJ. ENFJs are the kind of person like in a circle of people having a conversation. If one person doesn't feel included or feels uncomfortable, an ENFJ will pick up on that right away. Like and then I get uncomfortable because this one person out of 10 is not comfortable. So if in a situation with an employee, you're I'm too much or over involved, micromanaging, if they feel diminished, overmanaged, not trusted, I just tend to pick up on it really quick. So that the pain of doing that is like greater than the pain of like not doing enough in terms of like my personal bias for action. So I think for me, it's just personality. I didn't learn it in a book. I didn't learn it from someone else. It's not like a process or a procedure. I can just tell when a person doesn't feel empowered, trusted, and those sorts of things. It's like acutely painful to me. So, like yesterday, I did a little monologue for my team, my customer support team, and I kind of picked up on the body language, like eyes glazed over, looking a little bit talked down to. Like I picked it up right away, and I was like, okay, I'm going to remove myself from the situation, and then just sort of like brought closure to what my point was. Like, okay, here's my point, and I can see that like I've beaten this horse, and I'm gonna peace and keep working on something else. So for me, it's personality. Quite frankly, I don't have any other articulated answer.
This is
Yeah, that's really interesting.
this is something that so Zach and I have a dichotomy as far as that goes. Zach is impose his will upon the world and just keep moving forward until it's over with. Which I'm much more of a hey, if we keep going forward and keep doing what we're supposed to do, we're going to get where we're supposed to be, sort of thing, right? But it's that I think this comes back to what you said, like knowing yourself well enough to put yourself in a good position to do what you need to do, and like surrounding yourself with others that have the pieces that you don't have might be the best way to create an environment that's sustainable, right? Because think like I'm sure I don't know if it's your co-founder Hewitt or someone else that's on your board that probably has more of that. Hey, here's the next mark. Here's the next mark. Here's the next mark. We got to keep pushing. Here are the solutions. And not that you don't have that innately, but you have the ability to kind of pull the plug and be like, all right, this is not the time for this. Like,
Yeah,
this moment is not the moment for that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, look, when you have full ownership of the thing, the pressure, the motivation. I mean, like it's not really equal to what your employees are experiencing, and you can't really share that burden with them. So there are times where I do feel like a little bit manic or like a little bit like psycho.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah.
I think you have to be like really careful how you channel that with your employees because it can be overwhelming. It can be a lot. So that's part of the responsibility of like you give yourself credit for caring a lot. Sure, give yourself credit, Zach, for being like you know manic and energetic towards the goal. Like that's good. But like it's a two-edged sword. And part of the responsibility is sort of managing that energy and making sure that it's channeled correctly to the people around you. Cause like it is a team effort at the end of the day. Otherwise, be a sole proprietor, be a solopreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're gonna expect your employees to feel the same burden, then you need to share the burden for real and start talking about ownership and
Yeah.
employee
Make them a
ownership and
partner
all
in the
that stuff.
business, right?
Make them a
Like
partner in the
if that's
business,
what you
right?
want. Yeah. Put your
If
money
that's
where
what
your
you
mouth
want,
is.
but you can't have it both ways. I think there's a lot
That's
of
right.
small business owners who
That's
kind
right.
of want to
No,
have it both
that's
ways.
I see it a lot. I see it in brick and mortar, right? They might churn through employees. Like the employees might learn some things about working for someone like that, but not for long. I mean, it's too much. It's imbalanced. The expectations are. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that brings me to something that is sort of a small question, but I'm curious about because you see like a lot of debate around this, especially like now, the last year or so, fully remote, in person. You built this company. and you have a lot of employees that are remote workers. You're spread around.
Mm.
I don't actually even know where you're based, and if you and your partner are based somewhere together, or if you guys are even separate.
Uh-huh.
Have you made like what give me your just general thoughts and perspectives on like building a startup in like a remote culture, building
Uh-huh.
a startup in person? Like, have you considered bringing everybody to an HQ? I know
Mm.
you guys are on the road a lot to conferences, so perhaps it
Mhm.
doesn't matter. What's your general thoughts around stuff like that?
Yeah, it's a really good question, especially today, because I saw that JP Morgan is the biggest bank in the world. They're like really committed to working in office, and they built the sixth tallest building in Manhattan. They're going to put 10,000 of their 24,000 Manhattan employees in this one building, which for one, I'm like 24,000 employees in Manhattan. Like that is just a huge company. And then two, we're building a building and putting 10,000 employees on it. It's crazy to think about, right? So look, I'm in Arlington, Virginia. My partner James is on the eastern shore of Maryland in a beach town. We're remote, and we didn't consciously choose to do that. COVID sort of did it to us, and then we just never went back. Now, look, when we hired Clayton, our creative director, he was in Oregon because his wife is from Oregon, and he had to leave his job, I think, as like on the media team at Baylor or Cal Berkeley, right? And he was freelancing. Now he works for TeamBuildr as a W-2. Remote work is really good for Clayton. He gets to raise his kids with their grandparents in his wife's hometown, and he gets to do what he loves for a company that he loves. Remote work is really, really valuable to employees. It is not everything. In person is really awesome too. We do get together like for offsites. We go to conferences. That in-person interaction is really important. And I had a CEO kind of tell me like 6 months ago, he was like, can I give you some unsolicited opinion? He's like, get an office together. He's like, get people. And he's like, as people churn out of your company, hire back into the office. And I was like, I didn't tell him this. I was like, I don't really churn people like you do, man. So
Don't
um,
hold your breath.
yeah, no, look, I love both. But for my company, I hire young employees. I hire a lot of coaches, and I give them a chance to move where they want to move for cost of living, for family, for whatever. And I optimize for the kind of personality where it doesn't matter if they work remote or work in person, they're going to work and they're going to do well. And like, if you want to solve your remote versus in person problem, hire the right people, and it doesn't matter. You can choose your own adventure from there. So, like, that's my take.
Yeah, I have to say I lean on agreeing. I think, of course, there's some real reality to the corporate problem of people working remote and not really doing anything. Like
Yeah.
that of course happens. But I think, the luxury of running a startup where people are really motivated for the mission, um, you probably are not going to run into that problem as much as long as that mission is clear, that North Star is clear, and everybody's pulling on the same rope and everybody
Yeah.
wants to be a piece of that success.
Falls on me a lot as the leader to bring the energy. One of the potential pitfalls of working remote is just this stale Zoom energy, right?
Hmm.
Like that could happen, and I see it happening sometimes. Well, dude, whose job is that? That's my job. Like, I got to come in a Zoom call and make it seem like it's an in-person meeting and bring a little juice, because otherwise it's okay. Who's up? Come off mute. Like Zoom energy. You know what I'm talking, right? We don't have it here on this call, thank goodness. But like, if there's Zoom energy, you got to blow that up. Like, no, not allowed. Um, and look, I bring it a lot, and I've actually come to my company, like my leaders and my partner James. I'm being like very transparent with you guys. I've had a few moments in the past where I'm like, guys, I need help. I feel like I'm the only one bringing the energy, and I'm tired. Like I have a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and then my wife's due with our third soon.
Oh,
Um,
congrats.
thanks. I've got house stuff, right? I've got tax bills. I've got in-law stuff. Um, I'm dealing with life, and sometimes I'm just like, guys, I need help. I need someone else to step up here and bring some energy, because I feel like I'm the only one. And it's number one, it's nice to have a company where I can like say that to my partner, to my
Hmm.
employees, and just be like, guys, I need help, instead of being like, I can't let them know that I'm, depleted. And then two, This is like how culture works. Like usually one or two people set the tone, but like it has to like permeate through other people. Um, and I'm still working on that. Like I'm still working on letting people know that they have the empowerment, like the ability and the capability to bring the juice just like me, so that we don't, become this like stale remote company. We want to,
Hmm.
kind of be like an exception to the rule about companies who work remote.
It reminds me of something cool I heard recently that I think you'll like. There's a lot of talk about lead by example. That's like a cliche. Try lead
Mhm.
by your example, right? I learned recently that the Boston Celtics building, and this comes from Joe Mazzulla, the head coach, they've banned that phrase. That you don't lead by example in the Celtics. What you lead by is you lead by impact. And it's a little like coach corny, right? However, the reasoning behind that is because leading by example is self-centered language. You're focusing on your behavior and what other people should be doing. They should be
Uh-huh.
following in line. They should be following your example, and it can build resentment. If you
Uh-huh.
don't feel that everybody's following the example, then it builds this kind of like bubble around you.
Yeah.
But if you're taking an honest look at how your behavior is impacting others, then your example or your behavior that you're setting is going to have a positive impact on others because you're paying attention to what that impact is. And that's kind of what you're describing about bringing the energy and showing the way as far as the energy goes and bringing people into that energy. So um, I just heard that like the other day, and I've been kind of mulling that over the last week or so. And I think you know, I'm seeing it. It's recency bias, but I'm seeing it everywhere now.
Yeah.
The difference between those two things.
Yeah. It's an interesting take. It's news to me. I definitely want to think about that some more. What comes to mind here? Oh, should.
I could just see the wheels just freaking
Yeah.
burning inside of that brain.
Always, man. This is a challenge. You guys familiar with? You said I love that. You should do this. You should do this. You guys know about word diet and should versus could? That like sometimes people talk about this out there
I'm not familiar with that.
in the
No.
world.
I've heard of word diet before, but not
Yeah,
specific to those two examples.
I've been working on word diet with someone, and I love it. And one of the word diet, we bring up specific words and alternatives, and should versus could. And I really love this one because um, should is you should watch this show, right? And it's like you're compelling someone. You're almost like guilting someone into. You shouldn't have to do anything. You're an adult, and when you tell yourself I should go to the gym, you're kind of coercing yourself. Like I should do this, but if I don't, then am I failing? Am I like not? Do I not care about my health? And if you just swap out should for could, it's so empowering. I could do this for the team. I could um, take on this attitude at practice. I could go to the gym. Man, it is so empowering because it gives you the autonomy as an individual to make a conscious decision without like the implication of guilt. So when I heard you say that, Zach, like old school sports is you should do this as a good teammate. You should do this in this organization. And maybe this is like woo, maybe this is like soft for, the old school coaches, but like, what if everyone could or could not? And then it's their choice. It's not your mandate or your framework that you're imposing on them. And I just think it's so empowering. And when I think about things that I can do with my time, like I could do this podcast, I could not. It's not like I should do it for my business. I could or I could not. I could go to the gym. I could work today. Tell an entry level employee like you're 23 years old. You're an adult. You don't have to go to work today. You could or you cannot. And it kind of turns into like I'm choosing to be here. I'm not like having to be here. And is that true or not? When it comes to mentality, is anything true or false? It's what you tell yourself, right? And your attitude is what you choose for it to be. So I'm into word diets, as you can tell, and anytime I hear like the words that have a better alternative, there are others. I just start thinking about that.
That's awesome. I really dig that. So this in my job here, I deal with tons of chronic pain or people trying to make just changes in their life, and it's the same thing. You can't
That's a tough job,
tell.
right? Because people get People
I
get
mean,
emotional about their chronic pain. It becomes a part of
oh,
their identity, doesn't it?
exactly. They put themselves in. It's the same thing as when you get, let's say you hire somebody on from a different company, and they came from a big company where it's a big structure, and they've been beaten down by the corporate ranks for a year and a half, and they come out, and then you're the bright sunshine on the other side, and
Huh.
it's your job to help them lean into the sunshine, right? So if you're trying to impose things upon people, you're telling adults what to do. They've already, by just coming to see you, Hewitt, they're by going to TeamBuildr and being like, hey, I want to work here. They've already made a conscious decision that this is something that they could be doing, or maybe that is a better use of their time, right? So your job, our jobs, realistically, is not to impose our will upon someone that's below us. It's to, like you said, empower them by
Yeah.
using the right type of energy. Like Zach hears me talk about this all the time. I'm a big energy guy. Like if the energy in the room isn't right, or like the people aren't right, like I got to get everybody on the same page, because otherwise this is all going to be, it's going to be bad. We're not going to achieve what we need to achieve for the day. Right. So it's those kinds of things add up so much. And like you said, words are things that we take for granted, but the way that you pitch something to somebody, the way that you talk to somebody about something is like 90% of the battle. Whatever
Yeah.
the point is, just the back end of it. It's how you get there. It's the story of it. So that's the word diet thing. I learned a lot about that when I first started, just purely by making mistakes on how I spoke to people, chronic pain or things like that. And then you learn over time how important it is to just look at somebody and understand if they're even ready to tolerate something you're about to give them. If they're even ready to understand, like you said, empower. You could work today. You signed a contract. I'm paying you regardless.
Yeah.
You could do whatever the hell you want. But
Yeah.
I would hope that because we've done this and I trust you and you have bought into what we do here, you're going to be the best version of yourself today and every day,
Yeah.
because that's what's going to make us all better. It's
Yeah.
just kind of the team, literally the team builder part of it. So that's cool to hear you. That's very astute, Hewitt. It's important. The words matter. They matter a lot.
Words matter. Who's I love this guy. He's dead now, unfortunately. Rosenthal, I forget his first name, but he wrote a book that means a lot. And in the beginning of the book, he says words are not like all words, our entire language, no matter what language you speak, they're not sufficient to fully communicate like human emotion. So, in other words, he's saying we're at a deficit because already by having to speak to one another like we're doing now. So you really have to pay attention to the words you use because you're already working from a deficit.
It's such a
I couldn't
concept to
agree with
think
that
that
more. Yeah.
it's such a concept to think that we have millions of words and millions of different
Yeah,
languages and different
that's not
combinations and
sufficient.
everything. And it is never enough.
That's
The
never
true
enough.
the true expression of what you want, you go, I can't tell you how I feel. This doesn't work for me. And you just look at them and you're like, can you not feel what I feel? And they go, no. And you go, well, all right, move on to the next thing. Keep it moving.
That's gosh, that's really great. I really love that. It reminds me of just teaching anything too. Like we're coaches and we teach people how to do these complex motor skills, right? Hewitt, you golf, you do winter sports. You have hobbies that involve complex motor skills.
Yeah,
It is so hard to take that expression, that type of expression, and then translate it into language. Like,
yeah,
how do I explain what it is my swing feels?
yeah,
Like, Alex and I have this joke that this bit we do when we play golf together, where we do the extremely exaggerated shallowing of the club because we're trying to kind of make light of the fact that we're fucking terrible at this.
but you guys are over the top like everyone else in golf.
Yeah, and we played college baseball. We're like, we should be good at whacking shit with other shit. And we but but it's fun because it's like it's so real where you have this feeling that I have, but I can't connect it to language. I can't explain why I've got my two-way miss going with my driver, right? I can't verbalize it, but I feel it, right?
Yeah,
And the disconnection between those things, right? The things you feel in your body, whether that's motor skill and emotion or otherwise, and the disconnect between that and language is something that's extremely frustrating for people. So practicing recognizing that in others makes you a really strong leader and a really good teacher and a really good mentor to other people. Um, I'm gonna go, like, this word diet thing specifically is new to me, and so I'm stoked to go and research more about it.
I love word diet, and Just so if people are curious, the others are like the first three in Word Diet 101 is not, should, could. The other one is not, but, and. That one is actually one of the hardest ones. It applies to work. It applies to talking to your wife. You talk to your wife. I love you, but actually, I love you, and we're not on the same page right now. It just, you could really truly can swap out but for and it won't negate what you said prior to but, because but just completely negates it, and it makes it meaningless. And what do we say about being a referable person? Say what you mean. Say what you mean.
Yeah.
And then the last one is sorry. We just say sorry too much in general,
So much.
especially if you're Canadian. And sorry is interesting because there's a gender component to it. Women are conditioned to say sorry more than men, so they're always apologizing through life. Oh, sorry. Oh, I didn't hold the door. Sorry. So saying sorry less. And if you're late to a Zoom call, thank you for waiting on me. Instead of I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize for existing. It's okay to show it. You can show respect for someone else and also show respect for yourself in the same instance. Thank you for waiting on me. Right. So those are like the 3 Word Diet 101s.
That's tremendous. Okay. I want to talk business just a little bit, and some of this is for me. But I think the listeners will enjoy too. So, the evolution of TeamBuildr has been really cool. You go from a software where you get, customer 1 to customer 100, and you're really big in high school, collegiate athletics, right? You start to break into private sector. You acquired a company that was called Gym Studio.
Yeah.
You have, and I don't know, this is not necessarily via TeamBuildr. I think maybe this is you and your partner. You have invested in a company called Driven Golf.
Yeah.
You have this TeamBuildr OS, which is what Gym Studio became, I think.
That's right.
Okay. You have TeamBuildr Practice that you've recently launched, a tool that's supposed to help sport coaches in practice planning and connect the siloed sport coach, strength coach, performance coach stuff. So let me pair this into a specific question. So over the last couple of years, what was the motivation to start to diversify this way? And where do you see that diversification taking you over the next few years?
There was a twofold reason for doing TeamBuildr OS, which is our member management solution, our mind-body competitor, if you will. Number one was that James and I at that point were 10 years into TeamBuildr as a singular product. And part of the deal for us was we learned a lot over 10 years, and we wanted to run it back and apply our experience to another product in another market. So a lot of it was just for us personally and giving us another challenge, another chance to sort of like apply our learnings over the years. That was a big part of it. Secondly, it was opportunistic. The private facilities, as you mentioned, is the fastest growing segment of our customer base. And as we were recognizing that, we knew that as we were building tools for team sport, that not all these tools would translate to training facilities, that training facilities were a different segment at some point in terms of their needs. And member management was a natural way for us to kind of build something for that growing customer segment. And integrated tightly into TeamBuildr, a singular vendor experience, a singular mobile app experience for your facility members, so that you don't have TeamBuildr for programming and MindBody for classes and then MyFitnessPal for nutrition. Like, we're trying to consolidate. So that's OS. Now, Driven, Easy AP, those are like personal investments from James and I. I think it's just important to say that James and I are not investors. Like, investing is a profession, just like coaching and just like, being an executive. And we're doing this on the side. So like, we're not playing the investor game of like having a thesis, having a portfolio. When James and I invest in those companies as essentially angel investors, we're doing this like with athletic intuition. Like, we like it, we believe in it, we believe in the people. Like, that's our thesis, really simple stuff. So Driven Golf for us was, it takes athletic performance training and marries it to golf. We love golf. We love athletic performance training. It's in the app space. We know apps, and we love the founder. I mean, do we need any more reasons to invest? I mean, like, is it the biggest market? No. Is it gonna, are we gonna retire off our investment in Driven? Absolutely not. Like, even if it goes well, but we believe it's making a positive impact on the world. Same goes for Easy EAP. We met this really young founder and we love him. He's a hard worker. He's really bright and he's working in a space that we know well. So we backed him. So that's the investing side is, I'm not going to get on LinkedIn and start giving investment advice. That is not what I'm going to do. I might very well, like James and I very well could eat our shirts on all this stuff. But it doesn't matter because I think we're doing what we're convicted in. And that's what matters for us there.
Yeah, that's well said. Tell us a little bit more about Easy EAP. I think, and when I was researching, I think I missed that. So what's that company and what do they do?
Yeah. So Jacob Swisher is the guy's name. He's a young entrepreneur. I think he's 23, 24 years old. He was an athletic trainer at UVA, and he was tasked with the wildly fun project of updating EAPs, distributing EAPs for every practice field, every competition court field, weight room. A place like UVA probably has like 20, 25 EAPs for specific places.
Yeah.
And it's all PDF based. So he had this great idea of digitizing EAPs in a way that they could be shared with visiting teams before they even arrive on campus, as opposed to meeting them at the bus and giving them a physical PDF or emailing a PDF where they might or might not have service or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's really what it is. And, it's just getting started. But it seems like it's going to be a good business, and good businesses are partly about the product and partly about the market's ability to adopt it. And I think the market is ready for something like this. So I'm excited.
Yeah. For the listener, emergency action plan. That's what EAP is, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
It is. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I was talking about this with somebody recently about how some of the most successful businesses out there are things that we take as consumers, we take for granted. And
Totally.
that kind of falls in that category for me right there. Like it's something that it's important. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
But most people just kind of take it for granted. Like, yeah, of course. I don't know. We got this software that we use. Like, yeah, and then it's a monster business and the founder's like a multi-millionaire because of how amazing the market was. He just saw the opportunity that everybody was just stepping over because it isn't sexy in the way that some other startups are, but the eye for that is something that almost like in some ways can't be taught. Like it's an instinct, it's a gut thing that some people have, and those people are going to be able to take advantage of those markets.
Just a natural curiosity to make something better than it is. Doesn't matter what it is, right? Commercial HVAC, emergency action plans, a better way to, looking around the room, better way to do anything that's sitting around on your desk right now. Of course, like the sexiest job in the world for me would be like being a professional golfer's agent, just doing deals and making money and going to tournaments and wearing credentials. Like that seems awesome. But no, there's a lot of other ways to make a living that are probably a lot less stressful than that and less glamorous, like improving EAPs or whatever. Take your pick.
Yeah. So I saw a post that you posted, and this is kind of topical. Speaking of things that are sexy, you talked about how everybody's doing AI customer service bots. And, I think this was the LinkedIn post, or maybe it was a Twitter. And you're like, anybody who does AI chatbots in our space, we're going to eat your lunch because we're never, ever going to do that. We have real people and most of your customer success people were coaches.
Yeah.
Or still are in some cases. Yeah. So, and some people are still coaching on the side of working at TeamBuildr. Right. And so they have empathy for whatever your customer base is doing or going through.
Yeah.
And I suspect that your customer success people for TeamBuildr OS are going to start to be gym owners or former gym owners and things like that. So expand on that. And then I'm curious, are you planning on implementing AI in other ways in TeamBuildr or OS or practice or anything like that? And you're just going to stay away from the customer service side?
You guys have some great questions. I just wanted to say that. I really appreciate that. Um,
Thank you.
Look, when it comes to the AI chatbot post, I mean, if you did like an AI chatbot a year ago, 2 years ago, when everyone started doing that in the wake of like Chat GPT, what it signals to me is that your product development is not original. You're not thinking critically about your product dev plan. You chased a rabbit. So like when I saw people do that, I'm like, you're a rabbit chaser. You don't know if this is impactful, better, whatever. You're just doing the latest thing that the LinkedIn industry told you was like a prerequisite for like being a participant in AI. So that's kind of what I meant by that. Um, I'm not doing a chatbot for AI. Like no one likes that stuff. I don't like it personally when I'm on Southwest website. I know my customers don't like it. On the OS side, people are running a business. Like this is their cash flow. This is like their income to their household with their kids and their mortgage. I'm not putting an AI chatbot to talk to business owners about like a mission critical tool like member management. That's silly to me. So that's number one. Number two is I do like AI, and we will be working in AI. We already are. I use AI every day. I have workflows, like I review legal documents. I have to create new documents. AI is great for that. Really good. If it helps me in my workflow, they better believe it's going to help my customers with their workflows, if that means writing programs or building reports or whatever. So when it comes to AI, I think my job is look at my software first and foremost. What is the core value proposition? Where do people spend the most time on my software platform? And then you look and see if AI can augment that, make it more efficient. Coaches spend time in TeamBuildr writing programs. Like that is where they spend time. And what they want to do, they want to write the best program for each individual athlete. AI is going to help with that. If you think that I use like 3 inputs to write programming, like how much time do I have with them, at what part in the season, and what are the demands of the task, like just being 3, AI could take like 100, right? Injury considerations. Are they an ectomorph? Are they, what kind of equipment do they usually have access to? All these inputs now can be used for writing training programs, and like that's where I'm thinking about AI, not a chatbot on the website. I think there was something else that you asked in there, but like those are the two things that were
Yeah.
not for me.
Well, no, yeah, that's fantastic, and I actually completely agree. I think like when I if I as a customer or for a user, if I get on somewhere and I get a bot, I'm like, you're insulting my intelligence. Like
It's
this is not getting me to where I want to go. And I think the analogy that I've come up with is like the chat bots are almost like it's like a magic trick. It's like an illusion. It's a sleight of hand. It's like, look, it's a large language model. It's really good at language, and it's like, yeah, but I don't want a parlor trick. I don't want, look, my computer knows language. What I want is a solution,
yeah,
right? And I think like the really powerful implementation of AI for many companies, all the tools, it's about the fact that it remembers. It's about the memory. It's the learning. It's the fact that I log on my ChatGPT or my Claude account and it knows it has context, right? I ask it a question and it'll answer my question and be like, this could apply to this other thing that you were working on a couple of weeks ago, and your business serves this type of customer, so
yeah. Do
X,
you
Y,
want
and
me
Z.
to apply this to your business because it knows that you've been asking about your business in the past? That's a step in the right direction.
Right. And I think like when you implement tools into things like TeamBuildr or insert your software tool here, it's about more elegant if thens. It's about more elegant categories of customer. It's about more elegant solutions around aggregating large amounts of information and drawing insights out of that, right? And I can explain the outcome I'm trying to get to my tool. I can be like, this is what I want to do. I don't really know how to manually do it. Can you help? And it says, okay, I know what you do on a day-to-day basis. I've been watching your workflows. How about we do this? That's the power. It isn't the parlor trick of like, look, it can talk to me, right? Oh, I
Yeah,
don't, I don't want to,
a
you
shortcut
know?
to information, great. I don't think in like a SaaS product is small, right? If you're navigating the World Wide Web and you're looking for feedback on an NDA that's written in the UK versus the US, an LLM is going to help a lot with that and save you time to something that you would probably figure out anyway. But a SaaS tool like TeamBuildr is very, very small compared to the World Wide Web. You don't need an AI chatbot to shortcut people to the right place if you have a resource for them. So I think that's like a misapplication of an LLM. And you don't need to just have everything talk as if it's a human. If you're looking for a link and I get you the link and it's automated, right? No human involved. I don't have to pretend that it's human. That's just silly to me. So like that's another, I mean, we're really railing against chatbots here when there's some other great, AI tools out there, but like, let's just rail on the chatbot. Why not? That thing is stupid.
Well, there's another element to it too. It flies in the face of something that we spent 15 minutes talking about valuing your team.
Yeah.
Your up until now, your customer success staff have been so important, right? They're so critical.
Yeah.
And then you have these entrepreneurs and be like, look, we can dump those bastards to the curb. We don't need them anymore. Right? Bad idea. What kind of message are you sending to the rest of your team?
Yeah. And look, I'll say this is kind of off script, but yeah, I've seen some websites. I do competitor research, so I look at other websites. And when I've seen this come up more often now, which is we have AI support. AI support answers 95% of queries, to which my reply is bullshit.
Yeah.
95% of your queries are not answerable by AI. If something is answerable by AI, they're going to solve that problem for themselves with or without your AI chatbot and without your customer support team. When they reach out to the customer support team, they're asking very specific questions. I'm almost tempted to like pull up our support inbox and just read a couple to you guys so that you guys know that 95% of your support inquiries are not answerable by AI. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's the same. I mean, it's the same thing. Think about it this way too, Hewitt. It's the same thing when you talk about programming for individuals, right? You can take all those pieces and put them into, it's going to solve, AI is going to solve 95% of your programming problems.
Yeah.
Maybe. Unless maybe. But most of the time it's like, realistically, you're going to need somebody who knows more than you to get you to where you need to be. At least that last little bit to really get you over the hump. And that's where you need someone. You need a person to solve the problem, to show where it's at.
Yeah. True. It might get you started. It might solve your problem of getting started on a program.
There it is.
There you go. So like, if there's a final version of the program and then there's a phase where like, there's a world where like, I have to like get something going. AI solves phase one. And then maybe phase two is you come over the top and you take your personal touch, the art, right? The art of coaching, the art of programming on top of the clients. Like, that's how you got to be thinking, right? That's how I have to be thinking when I build these things. Is I'm not taking it the distance for the coach. Let's see where the coach wants me to take it. Let's meet them there. So that's exactly right.
100%. And finding old work that I've already done. That's a problem that I have on a pretty regular basis, where I'm like, I have an athlete and I want to write them a program, and I'm like, I wrote a similar program for a different kid like 2 years ago. I know I got that outline somewhere. I know I've got that skeleton somewhere, and I'm like pouring through my Google Drive or like whatever, and I'm like, damn, I can't find it because I'm terrible at labeling. The labeling is like, it's just, what are you gonna do? I'm a Neanderthal with that, and then I end up rewriting from scratch. But if and when, and I've actually successfully done this like 2 times now, I give my AI tool access to my Google Drive. I'm like, can you find the doc that I did that contains this? I know it has this in it. I just don't remember what I called it. And then, my folders are all over the place, and it's like, did you mean this one? And I'm like, yes, that one. Thank you. Finally, and that saves me hours, and so that getting started aspect is super powerful. Right. So I couldn't agree more. Hey, that's probably a good place to wrap, I think.
We're at the hour.
Coming up on that
hour.
Coming up on that hour mark. Yeah.
Yapping, baby.
This happens all the time to us. I often wish I told people like, hey, carve out 3 hours of your day, man, because like we're gonna Rogan this baby.
If we were getting paid Rogan money, we would.
Yeah, no kidding.
That'd be so fun, dude.
We're still ad free here on Professional Amateurs. Maybe don't hold your breath. I will sell out. I am for sale if you're listening to this. But hey, man, thanks so much for joining us. It was just a pleasure to talk to you and get your perspectives, and hopefully we get a chance to do it again sometime.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you, brother.
You too, man. Talking to coaches, it's what I did when I started out 13 years ago. It's the best thing that I could use my time for today. So thanks for having me.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Awesome.
Take care, brother.
All right.
See you in the future.
That's the pod.
Appreciate it. See ya.